Well, everybody, here we are, the end of season 11. John and I, we were conferring back and forth about how would the best way to end season 11 be. After all, this has been a landmark season for us with him coming on board. We've had some of the most successful videos we've ever released at launch, and we've had a lot of good growth. And there's a lot of you that are watching now that didn't even know who we were a year ago, yet here we are, a much better, happier family for it. We thought about maybe doing like another day out in the shop and working on stuff. We thought about even doing a live stream. But at the end of it all, I actually wanted to do a reaction video to something that Gears and Gasoline had put out a little while back. What's up, everybody? How's it going? And welcome to the season finale of season 11. For us, this is year 7. We're moving on to year 8. And we are very excited to have you guys here. My name is Nick Lanza, and if you're new around here, we do builds, reviews, and have candid conversations about cars, car stuff, Formula One. So if any of that sounds like a good time or interesting to you, please hit the sub button, make sure you ring the bell so you never miss an episode, and share this with your friends. Also, if you happen to like me, John, Ish, and everybody else enough, go check out Rant Extra. We just moved all of our bonus content to this channel, and it is always a fun, goofy, ridiculous time. We also have some dedicated shows coming just for that channel, and we're reviving the Car Rant podcast in season 12. So if you want to be interested in any of that stuff, go check that out there. Without further ado, let's talk about this. You see, I met the Benz actually at a Drift Nirvana, but at the same time it was actually HBD and some other amateur racing event going on at the same time. So while my friends were in the paddock working on Josh's car, I hightailed it over to the other track to go see what's up, and that's when I ran into the Benz. So I've actually known them for quite a long time. Before that, when the channel was barely a thing, I had just gotten the Evo, I had actually ran into Ben Thorne at a Nova Subaru's event. So, small world. But they recently released a video that really had me wanting to talk about it, honestly, because cars like this are not something I can just easily give up. For me, Raika was lightning in a bottle. No pun intended, as the color of the car was lightning yellow. This was a car that I had dreamed about owning since I was a child. The very first episode of my channel was literally talking about me trying to get one. And when I finally got it, I spent thousands of dollars to make sure that it was the very best I could possibly make it.
Time to send it.
We'll get a proper one. That wasn't proper? No. You ready? Ready? Woo! That's only 2 gears. Because I knew I was going to hit him. Most of the time, they'll talk about never wanting to meet your heroes, that you should start with something else and have an expectation, right? I've talked about it before. I've actually got an episode coming up in season 12 where I actually dive into that more. And for me, I had the right expectations with the Evo. I got into it. It was everything I wanted it to be. And as time went on, the car morphed and changed and blossomed into this incredibly cool, powerful, and oftentimes scary to drive machine that I absolutely loved, and to this day still get comments from random strangers of, "Hey, were you the guy that owned the Pikachu Evo in Northern Virginia?" To which I say, yeah, that was me. I say all this to say that Gears and Gasoline put out a video that was very telling about the current status and state of automotive YouTube. We, in this side of the sphere, have become so used to people getting new cars and doing crazy builds that there's now an expectation that channels need to collect cars in order to keep content going. And in fact, great proofs of this are guys like TJ Hunt Evan Shanks was literally giving cars away so he could replace them with new cars to build. They're so hyper-fixated on the one aspect of get a car, build a car, do stuff with car, sell car, that they forget that you can still do life with car. Go do something you always dreamed of doing with said car. For me, I wanted to take my Evo and take some of my friends and family for rides in it and also do some kind of cross-country thing, and I did. I got to do all of that. Before my grandfather passed away a few years ago, I got to take him for a ride in the Evo and show him what Rika was capable of at that time. And he was blown away. To quote him, it was the coolest thing he had ever done. Mind you, this is also the same man who really wanted a 57 Chevy Bel Air and thought that tuner cars were cool in a way that squirt guns are cool. And when I got to take him for a ride in the Evo, it blew his mind. He's like, this is like a muscle car. This is incredible. It's fun, but it's also really agile. I mean, I got to take him on all of my old childhood roads and show him what this little tiny car that could do. Then when it came to taking the race car to various places, I got to drive the thing all the way out to Ohio, have fun with some of the street scene out there. There were a few guys that tried to race, and at the time, she was not set up for that kind of racing. Like, yo, let's do digs at 70. I'm like, I'm in 5th gear at 70. There is no digs at 70. Sadly, toward the end of Rika's, existence here on Car Rant, a lot of things went wrong in a lot of ways, and there were lots of issues that took place, and I'm not going to get into all that here. We've already hashed that out. But it was really sad to see that car go, to the degree of here I am now 2 years later and I'm still sad about it. I miss that car. Every time I see an Evo at an event, I'm like, man, that could have been me, you know, like losing out on that car and then having it go to a friend. You know, I sold it to a buddy of mine down in Tennessee. He got the car to 700 without having to really change anything, and it was still on gasoline, not ethanol. And it was so powerful that the guy that ended up buying it from him was actually scared of the car and asked to detune it. I'm just saying, I know how to set up a nice car, I guess. She was a mountain racer, she was incredible, and it left a legacy. Something that now is immortalized with this picture that Ishmael gave me several years ago as a birthday present. Getting back to the YouTube side of things, I feel like a lot of YouTubers, automotive YouTubers, forget that sometimes the joy is in the journey, that it's in all the steps we take with the vehicle. And if you know what you're doing and you don't just dump everything into one video, you can really stretch that out. But also, you can make it so much more palatable for people that it becomes relatable. And instead of it feeling like this larger than life, I'll never be able to attain this thing, like modding Ferraris for God's sake, it's something that's reachable. Hey, I can do this with my Miata too. And I feel like that's what made Money Pit on Donuts so good, was the fact that here's these group of guys that, sure, they have a studio, they have space, they have all these camera dudes and everything else, but in the end, it's just Zach wrenching on the car, having a good time, and killing it. But it kept going. It then became, let's go have fun with the car, let's see what we can do with it, and then let's see if we can make it even better. And I feel like that journey, that growth, evolution, is being lost in a lot of ways throughout the majority of YouTube. We have people, and I love her to death. Amelia, if you watch this somehow, I love your channel, I love it to death. But we are going straight from stock car to 1200 horsepower Mustang. From makes a little bit of power to stupid amounts of power. Like, sometimes the journey is growing with the car and becoming almost in tune with it, if that makes sense. Years ago, Jeremy Clarkson had said that cars are not just machines and wiring and all that. They're living beings that if you learn to listen to them, if you learn to communicate with them, you can learn to become one with it and enjoy yourself so much more so, even if you're just driving to work, right? Like, there's that level of attunement with this object that's possible, that's not really possible with a lot of other things. To prove the point, little known fact, I played guitar for a long time. I had severe carpal tunnel issues that I had to rehab. This is my EC1000 Deluxe. I've had this now for 11 years, and this has gone to the other side of the world and back with me. When I traveled to Lithuania, wow, yeah, 8 years ago, this was the axe I brought with me when I went over there to teach how to play and do gospel music. I understand this guitar. I play this guitar. I know how this guitar works, what it likes, its idiosyncrasies, its simplicities, the things that it wants to do, its natural acoustics, because I spent time with it. And then just dump hundreds of dollars of guts in this in one shot, because this is like the 10th set of pickups in there. And these are gonna be the last set I put in there, because I love where it sits now. That level of attunement, that level of synchronicity between an object and a person is something that's really hard to come by, and it's something that Automotive YouTube is losing. There were dozens of YouTubers that we knew them for that car, right? Boosted Bill was known for Foxy because that Mustang was ridiculous, it was fast. I was scared of it. Ishmael had the guts to go drive or go for a ride in it. Like this, that was a car that got him his popularity for a while. Then there's that dude in blue who still has Smurf. Like that's his car. We know him for that car. He's never letting that car go, right? Smurf is his boy. But the problem is when it comes to these bigger name YouTubers, it's as the community grows and more people come into it and kids grow up into it, that lack of identity with the ride is really apparent. And of course, they're objects, they're tools, they're literally pieces of machine that can be traded, sold, bought, etc. They are things. They don't have actual souls. But for drivers like me and you, they could be part of us. And this isn't to knock anyone in this industry. This is just me lamenting the loss of the soul. Because, well, at one point in time, cars were revered as part of the family. I feel like consumerism has, unfortunately, turned cars that used to be a household heirloom type thing and just made them into tradable commodities. Like when it came to my grandfather, for example, he had a Grand Marquis. Everybody knew him for that Grand Marquis. If we needed to go somewhere, we got in the Grand Marquis. If we went somewhere and we saw the car, we knew it was him. It was a identity with my family, not just outside, but within. You knew that it was Al Chamberlain driving if you saw the cream Grand Marquis. And that level of part of the family is gone now. We in the YouTube community space are showing the symptoms of the consumerism that has destroyed that. Because now we have to get another car in order to stay relevant. We have to start building a new project in order for people to still come to the channel. And I myself know that I'm guilty of that because I have a stack of license plates on the floor that are gonna go on these walls. I know that I myself am guilty. And that's kind of why season 11, we changed the direction of the channel to be more informative and still maintaining the heart of what we're about, while also still pursuing some of our own endeavors with our cars. John with his Supra, me with the Pajero, soon to be the Mighty Max in season 12, and of course Ishmael's and Ian's 240s. Like they're still there, we still do content around them, but we recognize that we need to appreciate the journey it takes to get them built because they're part of the family. This is the thing that I feel like a lot of automotive YouTube just doesn't understand anymore, because for them, they're just tools, and it really breaks my heart. Not everyone's guilty of this, but the fact that we have this culture about us now that allows for such a mentality to exist, and that it's the only way to make money anymore for some of these guys, is truly the biggest tragedy. Now I know I'm ending season 11 on a bit of a somber note, but I hope it helps you guys to realize why our content from season 10 into 11 is very different from what it was in previous seasons before that. because I don't want to lose that. This car showed me that I didn't want to lose that. Do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree? Let me know down in the comments section, because obviously we love to communicate and have a good time with you guys down there. John is looking at getting his Supra tuned up. That'll be a great video. Of course, we got the Mighty Max going under the knife and getting super basically modified out the wazoo. We're hoping that pretty soon we'll be able to buy the suspension parts for it, because, well, before we ever put anything in the truck, we need to make sure that the truck itself is ready for whatever goes in it. And that is going to be a huge episode that will air later on this year. And then, of course, we'll have all the cool vlogs and everything else that are going to be going up on Car Rant Extra. So stick around. We want to bring hope and joy into this community. And more importantly than anything else, we'll make sure you guys have a good time. With all that said, thanks for tuning in to Season 11. We look forward to seeing you in Season 12. God bless y'all, and we'll see you soon. Peace.